The long arms. Chapter 1. The Wake-Up. Nina, a young woman living alone in a city apartment, wakes up abruptly at 3:17 a.m., her heart pounding. Something doesn't feel right. The room is silent, but the air feels strangely dense, pressing on her chest like an invisible weight. She wipes the sweat from her brow, her body tense. The digital clock glows beside her. She sits up slowly, the sheets tangled around her legs, and glances at the open bedroom door, and freezes. There's a figure standing there, tall and unnaturally still, shrouded in darkness. Its head nearly scrapes the top of the door frame. The dim hallway light behind it creates an outline, broad shoulders, elongated limbs. It doesn't move. It doesn't speak. But it's watching her. Nina blinks hard, trying to make sense of the silhouette. She reaches for her phone on the nightstand, hands trembling. The flashlight flicks on, casting a beam across the room. But the doorway is now empty. The figure is gone. Her heart thuds in her ears as she tiptoes to the door and peeks into the hallway. Nothing. She tells herself it was just sleep paralysis or a trick of the eye. But the feeling lingers, the sense of being watched, the chill in the air. She gets back into bed, wrapping herself tightly in the blanket. Minutes pass, then hours, but she doesn't sleep. As dawn breaks, a faint smudge appears on the wooden floor just outside her room, long and thin, like something had been dragged. Nina stares at it, her breath catching in her throat. Whatever it was, it had been there. And it had come close. Chapter 2. The Figure Returns. The next night, Nina, still unsettled by what she saw, positions her phone camera carefully on the nightstand, aimed directly at the bedroom doorway. She leaves the lights off, but plugs in a small nightlight down the hall. She sets her alarm for 3:10 a.m. and forces herself to sleep. Just as the alarm buzzes softly, she wakes up, eyes heavy but alert. 3:17 a.m. As if summoned, the air turns cold, and the faint hum of the city outside dims. A soft creak. Her bedroom floorboard snaps her attention to the door. The same figure stands there, but unlike before, it shifts. Its body seems to ripple with darkness, and its arms, those unnatural, grotesquely long arms, begin to rise slowly, joints cracking, stretching past the doorframe. Fingers that appear too many for one hand twitch and grasp the air, as if reaching for something unseen. The arms slither along the wall, the ceiling, almost touching the chandelier hanging above. Nina's breath hitches in her throat. She can't scream. Her limbs won't move. Her eyes are locked onto the thing now crawling into the room. Without stepping, just floating. The edges of its form blur like a smudge in reality. Then, just before it crosses the threshold, it halts. Invisible pressure pulses through the air, and the creature recoils violently as though it hit an invisible wall. Its arms withdraw, retreating in a jagged motion, and with a sudden jolt of wind, the figure vanishes. Nina gasps, regaining control of her body. She fumbles to grab the phone, hands shaking as she pulls up the video. Static. Complete distortion, as if the moment never happened. But in the corner of the last frame, right before the glitch, she sees it. A shadow. stretched and clawed, reaching across the floor. The hallway light flickers once, then goes out. Chapter 3. Seeking Answers. The next day, Nina barely functions at work. She spends her lunch break scrolling through paranormal threads, searching keywords: shadow figure, long arms, 317 AYEM. A pattern begins to emerge. Multiple users, different cities, even different continents, share eerily similar stories. Waking up at the same time, paralyzed, a shadow in the doorway with grotesquely long limbs. One recurring name grabs her attention: the Reach. Described as a being tied to sleep paralysis, it's said to appear at the edges of perception, silent, watching, always reaching. The stories share a chilling detail. The more someone interacts with it, the more real it becomes. Some posts warn not to acknowledge it. Others say it spreads through attention. Nina digs deeper, finding obscure folklore from centuries past. In one old forum, a post from a decade ago contains a blurry drawing, a figure with arms stretched across a hallway, head bent at an unnatural angle. It matches what she saw. The user who posted it? Their account hasn't been active in years. Terrified but determined, Nina joins a private message group of people who've experienced the Reach. They share voice notes, drawings, even footage, most corrupted. One survivor explains they burned all reflective surfaces in their home to keep it at bay. Another mentions it leaves a mark, physical or psychological, once it's seen. She discovers a horrifying pattern. People who encounter the Reach vanish, lose their sanity, or are found whispering in the dark, speaking in voices not their own. There's even a thread called Marked by the Reach. Every person who posted in it eventually stopped replying. Nina scrolls to the last message in the thread. It's a warning. If you're reading this, it already knows. Suddenly, her laptop screen flickers. For a split second, the reflection in the dark screen isn't hers. She slams it shut. That night, she dreams of a hallway with no end. Arms slithering from the shadows, always reaching. Chapter 4. The Mark. Nina begins to unravel. It starts subtly. Dark circles deepen under her eyes, her hands tremble constantly, and her appetite vanishes. Her co-workers notice, exchanging glances in meetings. Friends text her less, uneasy about her erratic replies. She isolates herself, partly out of fear, partly because she knows no one would believe her. The figure no longer confines itself to 370 EI. Ina sees it at random moments, glimpsed in the reflection of a subway window, or towering behind her in a department store mirror, vanishing when she turns. Her apartment feels like a trap. Every surface seems to reflect something just slightly off. One morning, after a particularly vivid nightmare of being chased through an endless mirror maze, she wakes up drenched in sweat. Pulling back her sleeve, she finds it, a scar-like mark on her upper arm. Long and thin, it resembles a fingerprint stretched too far. Over the next few nights it grows, extending slowly across her skin. A sick realization forms. It's not a scar, it's a touch, a signature. The Reach isn't just watching, it's laying claim. She begins to document everything: journals, audio logs, sketches. She sets up multiple cameras throughout her apartment, even tapes mirrors with paper to avoid accidental contact. She sprinkles salt at the doorways and burns sage. Nothing works. The footage always distorts. The air remains cold. Desperate, she finds a local paranormal expert, a woman in her 60s with deep-set eyes and shelves lined with protective charms. The woman listens silently, then nods. "You're marked," she says. "The reach doesn't torment. It prepares. You're nearing the threshold." Nina asks how to stop it. "You can't destroy it," the expert whispers. "You can only confront it. Stand where it stands, see it fully, and survive." That night, Nina feels it closer than ever. Not just seen, but felt, breathing down her neck. She sleeps in fits, hearing whispers from her closet. Every light in the apartment flickers. And the mark on her arm? It pulses like a heartbeat. Chapter 5. The Final Night. At exactly 3:17 a.m., Nina sits cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by a protective ring of salt, flashlight in one hand, iron rod gripped tightly in the other. Her breath fogs in the air, though all windows are shut. The clock ticks like thunder. The hum of electricity fades. Then she feels it. The reach enters, not through the door, but through the shadows. It glides in, arms stretching unnaturally long across the walls, curling like smoke made of flesh. Its form is denser now, more real than ever. Its fingers trail the air like claws slicing through silk. It doesn't pause. It moves directly for her. Nina stands. Her entire body trembles. She swings the rod hard at the approaching arm. It passes through, but this time the reach jerks back violently, letting out a sound like metal grinding against glass. Its head twists. It has no face, but she knows it's staring directly at her. "You will not take me," she whispers over and over like a mantra. She begins chanting the protection verses she memorized, her voice shaky but growing stronger with each word. The reach expands, stretching until it touches every corner of the room. Its arms curve like serpents, circling her completely. She closes her eyes and steps forward. The iron rod trembles in her grip as she plunges it through the air, through its chest. A scream bursts from the void, deafening and layered with voices. Hundreds, maybe thousands. The reach convulses, limbs writhing. Then, suddenly, it collapses inward, folding into itself like a dying flame, dissolving into